What up, it's me Xenoblade. You might be asking, why are you doing text-to-speech? Simple answer, my mic success. It's also just a simple process for me editing and putting stuff together, and so you can actually hear what I'm saying. Today's video is going to be covering Xenoblade 3's shortcomings, as well as some minor nitpicks I have with the game. I really do like Xenoblade 3 and I feel it is some of the best aspects of the entire series, but there is always room for the folks over at Monolith Soft to improve on in the future, and to make the series better. Oh, and spoilers for Xenoblade 3 in its entirety. Anyways, let's get started. One thing that I will start with is the areas as a whole. While design-wise they are extremely fun to explore, I feel aesthetically 3 has some of the blandest areas in the series. It's not even that they're necessarily bad in that aspect either, just that the areas in 1 and 2 are some of the most unique and interesting areas I've ever seen in a game. The one area that really annoys me, Capticorn. I genuinely think this is quite possibly my least favorite Xenoblade area because of multiple different reasons. The first reason is just comparing it to Valak Mountain and Tantal. It's so soulless. The music, boring, the aesthetic, boring, and most of all the story here really hit a low point with Mia's side story. It was just ridiculous and boring, it really just annoyed me. I think it was just the retconning of 4 different deaths, combined with an extremely lackluster villain that just annoyed me. It really feels like the devs wanted to give Mio her backstory and instead of weaving it into the main story just dumped it all here and called it a day. The only real positive out of it was 2 more heroes, but I kinda just wish we got new characters to fill in those slots instead of bringing some back alive for no other real purpose. Next up is my main issue with the game, and that is the villains. Easily without question the worst of the entire series. I personally felt that Mobius got old extremely fast and I stopped liking them around chapter 4. It also doesn't help that practically every hero quest followed the formula of go to colony, find commander, defeat Mobius and destroy Flame Clock. Other than N&M, Wild Ride and Yaron, I didn't find any all too interesting at all. As far as Zed goes, he is also just an awful villain. I think the idea of him being a concept instead of a being is cool, but considering they did nothing with that, he was extremely flat. I personally think having Gallia as the big villain would have been a much more interesting idea to go with. On a positive though, the final boss was at least fairly good gameplay wise. I also have some slight issues with the story too. I don't have much issue with the story overall. For example, I honestly think that chapter 5 is peak Xenoblade. That whole chapter is just excellent, as well as having my 2 favorite areas in the game, being the city and Erythia Sea. However, after chapter 5 the story dips in quality, I feel. I think the start and end of chapter 6 was pretty decent, but the middle was fairly boring. Chapter 7 was decent. I just really didn't like Origin as the final area. It made sense, was just not as great as the Prison Island revisit and the World Tree at the end of 1 and 2. Finally, I will move on to an extremely minor nitpick that doesn't matter all too much. At the end of the game we see a photo of the party from Xenoblade 2 all grown up, and that was extremely nice to see, but I really would have loved to a photo of the cast of 1 grown up. It would have been nice to see Shulk and Fiora with a kid, Rain and Sharla starting a family, Riki, Kino, Neen, with Dunban standing over everyone, and ultimately with Melia in the middle overlooking her companions. I think that just would have been really nice to see, Though it is really nice that she kept Shulk's Monado replica as a memento. As a finishing note here, this is all just my relatively personal nitpicks, so if you don't agree that's totally cool. Everyone is definitely entitled to their own opinion, this just happens to be mine. If you ended up enjoying this video, please consider dropping a sub, and that's about it from me. Have a damn good one.